It is Tuesday, January 14th, 2025. We're here for our Administrative Matters meeting. We're in the Commissioners' Conference Room this time, and we will begin the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. Well, I call this meeting to order, and I am Kristen Stevens, Chair of the Board of County Commissioners. With me are my fellow commissioners, Commissioner Jody Shattuck McNally, who's Chair Pro Tem, and Commissioner John Kafalis. We also have our County Manager with us, Lorinda Volker. Across the table, we have from Public Affairs Office, Tom Clayton. We have Sarah Martin from the Commissioner's Office, and from the Clerk's Office helping us out today, we have Deirdre O'Neill. So welcome, everyone. We will begin this morning with public comment. There is no one in the room to give public comment. Sarah, was there anyone who wished to give public comment online?
No, Commissioner.
Okay. Well, then we will close public comment and just remind folks that you can send us public comment by email or by phone. You're welcome to call us at any time to share your thoughts with us. And we'll be back next Tuesday morning and you can give public comment. We usually give folks 3 minutes to do that. So we will move on to the next agenda item, that is approval of the minutes, and I'll ask Commissioner Shattuck McNally to make the motion on that item.
Certainly, Madam Chair. I move to approve the minutes for the week of January 6, 2025.
Thank you. There's a motion on the table. Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes 3-0. We will move on to the upcoming schedule review, and I believe Sarah will be telling us about our schedules next week.
This is the Commissioner's schedule for January 20th through the 24th, 2025. On Monday, January 20th, county offices will be closed in observance of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m., the Commissioners will participate in the Martin Luther King Jr. community-wide celebration at Washington Park at 301 Maple Street in Fort Collins. On Tuesday, January 21st, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., there will be an Administrative Matters meeting in the hearing room on the first floor. From 12 p.m. to 1:30 p.m., Commissioner Kafalis will attend the Community Corrections Advisory Board meeting. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it will be in the Boyd Lake Conference Room on the first floor or virtually via Zoom. From 1:30 p.m. to 2 p.m., there will be legislative direction with Shane Atkinson, Legislative Coordinator, in the Sprague Lake Conference Room on the second floor. From 2 p.m. to 3 p.m., there will be administrative direction to County Management in the Sprague Lake Conference Room on the second floor. On Wednesday, January 22nd, from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m., Commissioners Kafalis and Shattuck McNally will attend the North Fort Collins Business Association meeting at the Rocky Mountain Innisphere at 320 East Vine Drive in Fort Collins. From 8:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m., Commissioner Stevens may participate in the virtual Counties and Commissioners Acting Together Governing Board meeting. From 12 p.m. to 1 p.m., there will be a Commissioners' Casual Conversation in the Commissioners' Conference Room on the second floor. From 1:30 p.m. to 2:30 p.m., there will be a work session regarding briefing on Woody Biomass Study and Strategy Project in the Commissioners' Conference Room on the second floor. From 2:30 p.m. to 4 p.m., Commissioner Kafalis may participate in the virtual Medicaid System of Care Implementation Advisory Committee meeting. From 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., Commissioner Kafalis will attend the Livermore First Responders Appreciation Dinner at the Forks Mercantile and Saloon at 17685 U.S. 287 number 3 in Livermore. From 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may attend the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Advisory Board meeting. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it will be at 200 Peridot Avenue in Loveland or virtually via Zoom. From 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m., Commissioner Stevens may attend the Fair Board meeting. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it will be at the Thomas M. McKee 4-H Youth and Community Building at 4280 Arena Circle in Loveland or virtually via Zoom. On Thursday, January 23rd, from 1:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m., Commissioner Kafalis will attend the Red Feather Lakes Advisory Planning Red Feather Lakes Planning Advisory Committee meeting. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it will be at 44 Firehouse Lane in Red Feather Lakes or virtually via Zoom. From 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may attend the Regional Opioid Abatement Council meeting. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it will be at 2260 West Trilby Road in Fort Collins or virtually via Zoom. From 4 p.m. to 5 p.m., Commissioners Kafalis and Shattuck McNally may participate in the virtual Colorado Counties, Inc. and Commissioner of Agriculture check-in. From 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., Commissioner Stevens may participate in the virtual Fort Collins Urban Renewal Authority Board meeting. From 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may attend the Open Lands Advisory Board meeting at the Horsetooth Area Information Center at 4200 West County Road in Fort Collins. On Friday, January 24th, from 8:30 a.m. to 10 a.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may participate in the virtual State Forest Health Council Legislative Committee meeting. From 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., Commissioner Stevens may participate in the virtual Middle Income Housing Authority Board meeting. From 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m., Commissioner Kafalis and Shattuck McNally may participate in the virtual Counties and Commissioners Acting Together Public Health and Human Services and Housing Committee meeting. And that's all.
Thank you, Sarah. Are there any corrections or additions? Commissioner Shattuck McNally.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Sarah, and Brendan and Melissa. As always, you guys do a lot to wrangle our schedules. Thank you very much. On Friday, January 24th, I'm also going to try to jump on the CCI, Colorado Commissioners Incorporated Legislative Briefing from 12 to 1:30. And then on also the 20, I thought I had it in my calendar, but I am attending a public funeral for a very missed veteran in Loveland, and I'm not sure if my colleagues are going or not, but I just thought maybe we should have it on the schedule because it should be, it's at 11 a.m. to 12, so I probably won't end up being at the CCAT meeting because I'm going to go to the funeral, and that's at First Christian Church in Loveland. And then on the 25th, from 11 to 2, I am attending and joining some other folks, electeds and other people at the Estes Park SEOR weekend. And that's throughout Estes Park, but mostly will be at the kind of some of the convention center. And that's the inaugural ski jor event for Estes Park. So, and that is 11 to 2, and I think it's mostly at the convention center. So, thanks.
Thank you. Commissioner Kafalis, any additions?
Oh, I suppose I at this point I'm planning to attend that memorial service for the veteran in Loveland. I think it's in the calendar. So I want to acknowledge that. Also, Tuesday the 21st in the evening, the CSU Center for Public Deliberation is doing the second of a series of 2 sessions from 6 to 8 at the Museum of Discovery. The topic is Overcoming Toxic Polarization. So I may attend that on the 21st, and I will likely attend tonight and not attend the ESAB meeting. The first session is tonight, and then the second session is on the 21st. And I thought that would be interesting. I think that's all. Yeah.
I just, on Friday, the 24th, I have a CCI legislative briefing on my calendar, so I will probably be attending that from noon to 1:30. And then I am unable on Thursday to go to the inmate art program, and they are doing another one on Saturday, January 25th. So I've signed up for the one on Saturday, January 25th. It's the inmate art program at the Global Village Museum, and that'll be from 1 to 2:30 p.m., and I'll make sure we get that, all the details of that. So I think we're good with that. Thank you very much, Sarah. So we will move on to our next item, and that is our consent agenda. And I will run through the items on that. Let me find the page. All right, so we have 3 abatements for, petitions for abatement or refund of taxes, and the details are available online. We have 3 agreements on the consent agenda. The first one is the network core replacement hardware and services. This is a quote for replacement of enterprise network core and distribution hardware. The total dollar amount is approximately $384,000. The next agreement is for Justice Center Elevator Modernization Proposal. This is a request for approval for a contract with TK Elevator Corporation to complete the Justice Center Elevator Modernization Project. That'll include improvements to durability, reliability, fire and life safety features, decreased waiting times, reduced energy consumption, and reduced costs of operations. The timeline for the project is 25 weeks after the contract execution. The amount is a little over $1 million for that. And then there's an agreement, the third agreement and final agreement on the consent agenda is a request for approval of professional services with ESI Technologies to provide audio-visual services, including design, sourcing, installation, and maintenance. And the total dollar amount is, as of yet, unknown. We have quite a few appointments to boards and commissions. We have, the first one is Doug Spanning being reappointed to the Eagle Ranch Estates Public Improvement District with a term that ends on November 30th, 2028. Second is a midterm appointment to the Eagle Ranch Estates Public Improvement District for Kevin Karst, and he will serve through November 30th, 2025. The third is a recommended reappointment to the Eagle Crest Public Improvement District for Patrick Weiss, and his term will end November 30th, 2028. There is a recommended appointment to the Fair Board for Jay Kraus. His term will end November 30th, 2027. A reappointment to the Red Feather Lakes Planning Advisory Committee for Ryan Zigray, whose term will end December 31st, 2027. Reappointment to the Foothills Shadows Public Improvement District for Carolyn Johnston and Diane Peters, whose terms will both end November 30th, 2028. Reappointment to the Rockview Wildflower Ridge Public Improvement District for Crystal Bateman and Mark Robinson. Their terms will end November 30th, 2028. A reappointment to the Paragon Estates Public Improvement District for James Wetzler. His term will end November 30th, 2028. A reappointment to the Horseshoe View Estates North Public Improvement District for Jim Anderson, whose term will end November 30th, 2028. Appointment to the Highland Hills Public Improvement District for Bart Furrow, whose term will end November 30th, 2028. A reappointment to the Bruns Public Improvement District for David Morse, and again, his term will end November 30th, 2028. An appointment to the Bruns Public Improvement District for Rainey Corbin, whose term will end November 30th, 2028. A reappointment to the Manor Ridge Estates Public Improvement District for Al Svedman, and his term will end November 30th, 2028. So thank you to all the people who have volunteered to serve on boards and commissions across the county. We appreciate your service. We have 2 letters of support. The first letter of support is for the Windsor Highway 392 Safety and Mobility Corridor Project. This is a raised grant application to the Federal Highway Administration. This is a letter of support that was requested by the town of Windsor, supporting a grant funding request submitting to the Federal Highway Administration. And it's an update of a letter of support that we had provided in the past. Sometimes it takes a while to get these grants, and this is their 3rd try at this raised grant for 392. So we hope they'll be successful in that. The second is a letter of support for the 287 Flood Mitigation Project. It's a PROTECT grant, and this is also a grant to the Federal Highway Administration. And Loveland is requesting this support for this grant, for the PROTECT grant, which is the Promoting Resilient Operations for Transformative, Efficient, and Cost-Saving Transportation grant. And this will be helping them with flood mitigation and replacing a US 287 bridge over the Big Thompson River. So we wish them both success with their grant applications. We have 1 liquor license. This is a new liquor license for Funkworks And this is a different kind of license than they've previously had. It's a brew pub license. Then we have 3 resolutions. The first, they're all for accepting public roads for maintenance. The first one is for County Road 34, also known as West Trilby Road. These were presentations that happened on August 21st, 2023 before the board, and we will assume maintenance of a portion of County Road 34 adjacent to the Behavioral Health Services. We have a resolution accepting public roads for maintenance for County Road 65D, also known as Elm Road. This is adjacent to the Larimer County Road and Bridge Estes Park Shop. And finally, a resolution for accepting public road for maintenance, and that is Westview Road, and we will be assuming maintenance for a portion of that road. So that is all for our consent agenda. Would either commissioner want to remove anything from the consent agenda?
Nope.
No? No? Okay, seeing no one wanting to do that, I will ask Commissioner Kafalas for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Yes, thank you. I move to approve the consent agenda for January 14th, 2025.
Thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion passes unanimously. And we will, do either of you have guests? I'm assuming not, because there's not very many people in the room this morning, but, and that's a no. So we will move on to the one discussion item that we have this morning. It is a proclamation for Martin Luther King Jr. Day. I will ask our county manager to just tee this up a little bit for us, and then have the commissioner speak to this. And I will ask Commissioner Shattuck McNally after that to do the proclamation, read the proclamation, and do the motion.
Thank you, Commissioners. This one is a little different. This is the first time we're doing a joint proclamation with the City of Fort Collins on the Martin Luther King Jr. Day. That we heard on the schedule is the 20th, and there is a community celebration you'll all be participating in. Like with all of our proclamations, this went to the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Advisory Board for their comments and input, and they were a part of helping put this together along with City of Fort Collins staff. So it's a real pleasure to be able to have a joint proclamation for a joint event that will be, I think, a lovely event here in Fort Collins on Monday.
Thank you. Well, maybe I'll have Commissioner Shattuck McNally read the proclamation first. We'll make the motion and then give some comments before we vote.
Certainly. Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a joint county City of Fort Collins proclamation, a proclamation of Martin Luther King Jr. Day, January 2025. Whereas our country's motto, E pluribus unum, out of many we are one, charges us to find common values among our varied experiences and to forge a national unity out of our extraordinary diversity. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. lifted up his ideal and urged the nation to pursue the ultimate goal of reconciliation. His vision for our nation's future included the creation of a beloved community through nonviolent action, and whereas from December 1995 until April 4th, 1968, Dr. Martin Luther King used the power of words and acts of nonviolent resistance, including protests, grassroots community organizing, and civil disobedience, to lead our nation in a quest for civil rights to address what he named the triple evils of American society: racism, war, and poverty. He believed that even under the worst conditions, there is a reason to hope. And whereas Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. led communities of color and their allies in the United States in a widespread movement to address ongoing segregation, violent hate crimes, and discrimination in housing, employment, and education. Despite social and systematic opposition and in the face of violence from those who opposed his message, he persisted in his work towards creation of a society where men will live together as brothers. And whereas today people of all backgrounds continue his march, raising their voices to confront hate and discrimination, protect the right to vote, and support access to quality healthcare, housing, and education. We reflect on Dr. King's words, recognizing that we are interdependent. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly, for we are tied together in a single progress. We are all linked in this great chain of humanity. And whereas Dr. King's life ended tragically in his assassination on April 4th, 1968, but his work remains relevant as we meet the same challenges today. We acknowledge significant suffering in the progress of peace, in the progress for peace and justice for all, and that for more than 50 years later, institutional and systemic racism still affects Black and African American communities, and communities of diverse ethnicities and religions throughout the nation. And whereas this year marks what would have been Dr. King's 96th birthday and the 40th King holiday observation by the Martin Luther King Jr. Center for Nonviolent Social Change, this year's theme, Mission Possible, Protecting Freedom, Justice, and Democracy in the Spirit of Nonviolence 365, honors Dr. King's dedication to justice through nonviolent action. It serves as a reminder that safeguarding freedom and justice and democracy is achievable when we unite in love and see each other as neighbors and not enemies. Now, therefore, be it resolved that January 20th, 2025 is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Observation and Commemoration Day in the city of Fort Collins and across Larimer County. In commemoration, we call on all the members of this community to reflect on the values and accomplishments of Dr. King and strive to actualize Dr. King's dream, where we chose democracy over autocracy and create a beloved community where service and belonging prevail. Dated this 14th day of January 2025.
Thank you. Would you like to make the motion?
Yes, I would.
Thank you.
I move to approve the proclamation declaring January 20th, 2025 as Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
Thank you, Commissioner Shattuck McNally. We'll make some comments then before we vote on the motion. Commissioner Kafalis, would you like to start us off?
Yes, I can say a few things. Thank you. I'm glad we're doing this. We do this annually. I think it's important to recognize and honor the life and good works of one individual. Like most of us, like all of us, the person was not perfect, and we all strive to do better. And I think he accomplished a great deal to unify people. And I'm glad that we have the opportunity to celebrate his life and his good works on Monday, January 20th, when we celebrate our national holiday and the state and county holiday. I think it's perhaps needed more than ever, a message that we're all in this together, a message that we need to do our best to unify. So I'm grateful that we're able to do the proclamation. I think it's powerful. I look forward to marching on Monday, although I reckon it'll be a bit cold, but I will prepare accordingly. So thank you for the opportunity to say a few words, colleagues.
Thank you, Commissioner Kafalis. Commissioner Shattuck McNally, would you like to say a few words?
Yes, I would. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, colleagues. I think it's really important that we do this joint proclamations, and it's nice to do this with City of Fort Collins together, as we probably all be together marching on Martin Luther King Day. I think there's also opportunity for a day on and not a day off, and to volunteer that day, and I believe some of us will be volunteering that day, doing some work. There are some other activities, marching in unity over the weekend, and despite the cold weather, I know it's important to reflect and be active and participate and remember kind of the ideals and principles and values that Dr. King's life was trying to raise up and to spread across the country. I think one quote that was in our proclamation is one of my favorite quotes from Dr. King, recognizing that we're all interdependent. And whatever affects one directly affects us all indirectly, for we are tied together in a single progress, and we're all linked in this great chain of humanity. And I think that's really important to remember. When one of us does well, we all do well, and we should all strive to help each other do well and thrive and care for each other. And I think that's what's special about Larimer County is that we care about each other. And we care about each other enough to even tax ourselves to have a mental health tax, Larimer Health, to take care of each other and have this unique and special urgent care and grants to help others do the work across the county. And I think that speaks a lot for our county. So I look forward to participating. I thank the EDI board for their feedback, and thanks to staff for helping coordinate that with the City of Fort Collins. And I want to do a special shout out to Loveland Mayor Jackie Marsh. Tonight, I will be joining her for the state Dr. Martin Luther King Tribute and Humanitarian Awards at the Betcher Concert Hall this evening, where she'll be is one of the 2025 Humanitarian Award recipients by the Colorado Martin Luther King Holiday Commission. And I want to just congratulate her on this award and feel very privileged to be able to go down with her and celebrate her. But I will also be celebrating that tonight, and I just wanted to share that with everyone. It's kind of special that we have someone from Larimer County receiving that prestigious award. But thank you. I'm really glad we do this every year, and very grateful for our work together, these proclamations such as this. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'm grateful to the EDI board for taking a look at the proclamations. I think it's really important to make sure that we have, people of color and people from diverse backgrounds, looking over proclamations that we make that are important to the community to make sure we get those right. So I appreciate their service in that space. I just wanted to say that, we will all be participating in the Martin Luther King events in Fort Collins on Monday. And for folks in the, not in the audience, but maybe in the audience, and certainly those who are listening via the streaming service, that the march starts at 1 p.m. at Washington Park. The address is 301 Maple Street. Then the march goes to the Laurie Student Center, where the program begins at 2 p.m. And there are opportunities to volunteer after that. So there is a program to collect clothing for Homeward Alliance, and I think that's being directed by the BIPOC Alliance. There are places to donate. I'm not sure where they're all located, but I do know there's a donation location at the Harmony Library, so they'll be taking warm clothes. And then after the ceremony and the program at 2 p.m., there will be an opportunity to sort those clothes and bag them up, and volunteers to take them over to Homeward Alliance to distribute warm clothing, because we know it's going to be bitterly, bitterly cold in the coming days, and those warm items are very much needed. Just wanted to say that when I visited Atlanta and visited the childhood home of Martin Luther King and Ebenezer Baptist Church, it was hallowed ground. It was a very special place. He is a remarkable leader, flawed, as Commissioner Kafala said, like we all are, but showed our country how to fight with love and fight injustice, and that helps us to sort of renew our own vows to do that work ourselves every year. So some of you might not know, but two of us were sworn in this morning, Commissioner Shattuck McNally and I, and I think that's a time to sort of look forward and see what we can do to do better. And I feel like Martin Luther King Jr. Day is also an opportunity for all of us to look forward and say, how can we do our work better? So we appreciate the inspiration and the legacy that he left that compels us all to work for justice in our community. So with that, we have a motion on the table. All in favor, say aye.
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 That motion passes 3-0. So thank you all. The next item is the county manager update. Lorenda?
Thank you. And congratulations to the two of you on being sworn in, along with District Attorney Gordon McLaughlin and Clerk and Recorder Tina Harris. It's great to see these events. I think it's a good time to celebrate elections in general and the outcomes. And the remarks you all made were very touching. And I know the people there, the staff that were there, and your families, I'm sure appreciated all of it. So thank you for serving yet another 4 years. Last week was the first full week where we had 5 whole days that we worked in the office since the holidays. And boy, it felt like it. I'll just give you the highlights. I did meet with the coroner, Stephen Hanks. We did talk a bit about budgetary issues and some of his plans for the future. And so that was a very interesting meeting. I met with Estes Park Town Manager Travis Michalik and Town Manager Shane Hale from Windsor, back to the routine of meeting with our colleagues in other locations. Commissioner Kafalis and I participated in the Poudre School District, City of Fort Collins, Larimer County Liaison meeting, where Sheriff Fayen was the guest and was able to answer questions and gather more information from those groups and share a lot of information about how his office will go forward in the coming months. And then I was invited to speak at Leadership Fort Collins along with the City of Fort Collins Manager Kelly DiMartino. And that was a great group, talk about an engaged group of community members. 2 of our employees were there, but there were people from across the region who were really interested in learning about what government does and how they can interact with government, how government can serve them in their roles and in their roles as community members. So I appreciate the Chamber inviting me to be part of that. It was a real honor to be asked, and a fast hour. It went so quickly. Those are the highlights from my week.
Wonderful. Thank you, Lorenda. Any questions for Lorenda? Nope. Okay. Well, we will move on to Commissioner activity reports, and we will start with Commissioner Shattuck McNally.
Thanks, Madam Chair. Yeah, it was very odd to have a full week after having the holidays and broken up weeks. So I agree with you, County Manager, that it was great to get back in the groove, I think, and its regular schedule. So I'll just, starting with the weeks, we starting to get back in our ROAC, our Regional Opioid Abatement Council planning, and along that was that is the meeting with the epidemiologist for Larimer County and the Butler Group from DU as we're working in subcommittee looking at metrics and questions and kind of standardizing some of the work for the Regional Opioid Abatement Group on some of the grantees information. And so that was a really important meeting, and we're getting very close to presenting that to the ROAC. And so I want to share that with my colleagues, and along with well, I'll skip ahead. I won't skip ahead. I'll share that in a minute. Some good news for state of Colorado on regional opioid abatement. It was exciting to talk with Extension as we're still looking at the. Hopefully, we can figure out a way to get the Forest Health Council priority bill through the Wildfire Interim Committee on a partnership with Extension 4-H on workforce development for land stewards and wildfire and firefighters and land stewards and foresters. So we're still hopeful we can find a way to get that passed, but it won't probably have the funding, but at least the program will get set up, we're hoping. So that is Bill 1078 from the House. Had breakfast with some of the fire chiefs last week, met with some of the folks with Visit Estes Park as they're starting to look at progress with a new executive director and things. Also, I had my NACO Rural Action Caucus meeting, and also Environment, Energy, and Land Use meeting. A lot of things trying to encourage folks to apply and get some things filled out from counties before the change in administration. So I have some information to share with folks. And then we had our regional statewide abatement learning forum, and we learned that through Johns Hopkins and some other national groups looking at how some of the abatement funds were spent the first couple of years, Colorado is actually leading this country in spending the money appropriately and getting the money out the door and having great outcomes. And when it comes to terms is making sure that money is spent in the way it is intended to by the abatement settlement. 0 is a good number to have. Usually 0 is not a good number, but we are 0. We have 0 things that were questionable. We are Colorado's Big Fat Zero, and so that means we did a really great job getting that funding out the door. And so I'm really proud of that work as our Region 2 for Larimer County. We're kind of the fiscal agent for that non-entity board, but I just wanted to share that with my colleagues that we have some good news to share there, and I thought that was important. Then I had I went to the regional business after hours at Blue Arena with, I think there was at least 10 or more chambers. And that was very interesting and a lot of great conversations with small businesses and some of the chamber leaders and an OVG group and some of the folks from Blue Federal Credit Union. They're very pleased to be our partners and really enjoying the partnership. And it was probably 400 people or more. It was very well attended, and it was great to showcase Blue Arena and having all those folks intermingle. It was great to talk to some young women who are small business owners and hear from them and get some feedback. And I appreciated their very candid comments, and I really enjoyed meeting them and talking to them. We had our Forest Health Council meeting for the Legislative Committee meeting. We're working very hard on 2026 legislative priorities. And some of that might include looking at biomass and things, some similar that we're doing here in Larimer County. And just really important work. We'll probably get those tidied up before the end of this month. I attended the local legislators' town hall with Senators Marchman and Kipp and state representatives Basenecker and Zokai, and that was really, it was a full house and standing room Oakley, and that was a very great time to talk with folks. And then I attended the grand opening of a very beloved brew pub up in Wellington. It was packed. There was lots and lots of folks there, including the town board and a lot of people, and I was able to give a speech along with the mayor, and it was very exciting to see that excitement and hear some of their downtown plans. And so I wanted to share that with you. Soul Squared it's called, and they have this really unique thing where the metal mugs and stuff are hung on the wall, and everyone can go in and get their mug, and they wash them and reuse them. So it's a kind of a nice, a sustainable way too. And so it was crowded, and it was very nice, and they were very excited to see me there. And yesterday we had our joint meeting, our meeting with the Policy Council, and it's really nice. We have pretty much every municipality participating and showing up in person. Even we had just 2 online, and lots of great information and lots of engagement. And I was elected again to be chairing that committee going forward for the next year. That's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Kofalis.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think today I'm going to pass. I'm just grateful for the opportunity and the privilege to serve other folks in our community.
Thank you, Commissioner. We're grateful that you do that. Both of you do that. I would just say that thank you for everyone who came out for the swearing-in ceremony this morning. It's great to start another 4 years working for the county residents, and want to just thank all our staff for putting such a nice program together. It was great to see the other to see our county clerk sworn in and our district attorney sworn in, and so thank you to Chief Judge Blanco for being here to do the honors. I will just say that last week I attended the Governor's State of the State. Really excited about some of the work that he teed up around housing and transportation. And then I went to a lot of transportation meetings. We are looking to possibly get multimodal option fund funding for the portion of Taft Hill Road approximately between Horsetooth and Harmony. And so I think that Eric Tracy did a great presentation, so we will hope that we'll be able to get those dollars and accomplish that project. We'll provide a lot of safety measures and multimodal options on that piece of that corridor. So that was a fun thing. I sit through a lot of transportation meetings, so it's fun when one of our projects comes up and we get to hear about that. And as the other commissioners have been doing, I've been meeting with a lot of groups around legislation that's upcoming, and we are trying to quickly digest everything that's coming out of the state capitol and trying to figure out how to make some of this legislation and these bills better and more workable for the county. So we will continue those meetings. That is it for me. And so I will ask Commissioner Kofalis to make a motion. We are going to go into executive session. There is no decision expected, so Once we make the motion and vote on it, we will be going off the air, so we will see you next week. And Commissioner Kofalos, I'll ask you to make that motion now.
Yes, thank you. I move that the Board of County Commissioners move into executive session pursuant to Colorado Revised Statutes 24-6-402, 4B, conferences with an attorney for the purpose of receiving legal advice about the scope of evidence to be considered when board has hearings on land use applications filed under the Larimer County Land Use Code.
Thank you, Commissioner. We will, any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of this motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion passes. We will now move into executive session. So thank you, Larimer County. We'll see you next week.